and John's Patreon buffet.
Hello, everyone out there in buffet land. This is John Brennan coming to you live-ish. I mean, I'm recording this live, but when you hear it, it won't be live. But I'm doing it live right now, like the good old, what's the guy, Bill O'Reilly would do it live. Fuck it, we'll do it live. I'll write it, and we'll do it live. He was so pissed when I don't know why he was so mad on the what was that, Inside Edition? Anyway, if you haven't seen that video where Bill O'Reilly freaks out on the set of Inside Edition while they asked him to give an outro of the Sting. We'll take you now with Sting, and I cut off his new album. You gotta see it. But I'm doing it live right now, and this is Yuki and John's podcast buffet. And I'm doing this because it's actually Labor Day 2025 right now, and it's like 3 a.m, and I realized I didn't edit a video or a podcast for today. It's a holiday, so maybe a lot of people aren't going to really listen or whatever, but I felt like I should do something. So this will be a good time to announce something. A new endeavor, a new endeavor here at the podcast and the Patreon buffet, Yuki and John's. And well, that's because we have like 15 shows. I don't know. We have like so many different shows that we do. We do Yuki Celebrity Stories, The Universe and Human Stupidity. We do Yuki Reacts. We do the podcast buffet. We do all sorts of stuff here at the buffet. But Yuki and I had an idea. We're teaming with a new entity, actually. A new entity that is called the Kings of Horror YouTube channel. I can't even pronounce YouTube. I said the Kings of Horror YouTube channel. Well, that's what we're doing. We're getting together with the Kings of Horror. They have like 1.57 million subscribers, and Yuki and I have maybe 37 who we love, and then maybe 6 who we're not sure about yet because they called us pieces of shit. No, I'm just joking. No, none of our subscribers have called us any. But what we're going to do is something called Yuki and John's Interview Buffet. This is an idea that, Yuki came up with. His part of it is called Spooky Yuki'S Scary Questionnairey, okay? And he came up with 6 questions, horror-centric questions, that we're going to ask all of our guests, and that you, the audience, actually can submit your answers to these questions. Now, we'll go through the questions in a couple of minutes, and maybe I'll answer a few of them in my way, because I haven't answered these questions in public yet because they're not public. They're being put out in public right now. This is an exclusive. I can't believe that this is happening on the podcast buffet. Spooky Yuki's Scary Questionnairey for Yuki and John's Interview Buffet, which is coming up on the Kings of Horror YouTube channel in the coming months. So basically what we're going to do for the next few months during spooky season and maybe a little bit beyond is gather up a bunch of interviews with some horror personalities, some horror fans, and then we're going to put it together and put it out on the YouTube channel, the Kings of Horror. And I'm really grateful to the Kings of Horror for joining with us on this excursion because, like I said, we have so many things that we do here at the buffet. Why not expand a little bit and get it out there? And James, what's the guy? James Lipton? Was he the guy who did Inside the Actor Studio? Well, Yuki's questions are kind of like James Lipton's, where he would ask Marlon Brando, what's your favorite curse word? And Marlon Brando would be like, fuck. But Yuki wanted to do something that's horror-centric, so we have these 6 questions. All right, why don't I just get to it, all right? We're going to go through the 6 questions right now. I'm going to have Yuki ask the questions, okay? So first question here, Spooky Yuki's Scary Questionnairey, question 1.
What movie scares you as a child?
What movie scared you as a child? Okay, well, for me, 100,000%, I think I've spoken about this on the show before, The Exorcist. The Exorcist scared the absolute living hell out of me when I was a child, to the point where I couldn't sleep for 3 weeks, and I had to keep asking my parents if I could stay in their room because I was so frightened, and then they got sick of it, so then they said, you could stay in your brother's room, and then I stayed in my brother's room on the floor for another 2 weeks, so the entire summer, and then finally, I went back in my room after an incident, and that was it. I never forgot the face of Reagan for the rest of my life. And still sometimes in the dark I think about, your mother so sucks in hell. So yeah, The Exorcist as a child. All right, that's Spooky Yuki Scary Questionnairey, question 1. Here, let's see what's question 2.
What movie scares you as an adult?
What movie scares me as an adult? Well, thank you, Yuki, for thinking that I'm an adult. I'm still sort of like a very childish person, but no, okay. As an adult, what movie scares me? Well, I'll say what movie affected me when I watched it back in my 20s that I was really shell shocked by. I think I've spoken about this on the show as well. Was Cannibal Holocaust. I was living in LA at the time, and me and my friend Ben wanted to have like a Halloween marathon sort of thing. And I went to this place called Rocket Video, which was a video store, I think on La Brea. And I went into Rocket Video and I got a bunch of like slashers that I hadn't seen before, like House on Sorority Row. I might have even gotten Black Christmas that time because I hadn't seen Black Christmas at that point. And maybe another couple of, low grade slashers like B movie, whatever sort of stuff. And then I went into the cult section and I saw Cannibal Holocaust. And at that time, Ain't It Cool News was still an entity, and I was reading that, and people had put out an article or in the comments section maybe and discussed Cannibal Holocaust was the most banned movie ever. It was banned in like 60 countries or something, it said, or whatever. And I saw that cover and I said, oh, here we go. It's a very banned movie that's banned in all these countries. This got to be good for Halloween. And I took it up to the front desk, and the clerk looked at me and he looked at Cannibal Holocaust cover and he goes, oof. He made a noise like, oh, God. I said, what, bad? And he just looks at me and he goes, good luck. And yeah, man, me and my friend Ben watched it, and I got to tell you, it left me just reeling. I mean, for days afterwards, I would hear the music, doo 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 doo, boo doo doo doo, and that like boo 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 boo, those like synth things, and just thinking about all the imagery in that movie, and it's just a filthy movie. And yeah, that movie scared me as an adult, and still scares me to this day when I think about the real animal mutilations in Ruggiero Deodato's Cannibal Holocaust. All right, next question on Spooky Yuki's Scary Questionnaire. What do we got? Question 3.
What is the scariest book you have read?
What is the scariest book that I have read? Ooh, well, I'll say this was a scary book actually. Perfume by Patrick Suskind. I think that's how you say his name. This movie affected me very much, and there are some passages in this book where it's not necessarily full-blown horror, but it's this sense of dread that doesn't leave the book. I mean, the entire thing is about a guy who has this heightened sense of smell to the point where he like wants to capture the essence of like a human scent or something. I don't remember the exact concept of like how he describes it, but he's basically a serial killer who has this heightened sense of smell, and smells like sort of drive him mad. And he smells this woman at one point. He wants to like capture her essence in perfume or something like that. And then it just keeps going and building. He kills other people, and he makes perfumes. And there's this one extended, I don't want to spoil anything. It should be read. Everybody should read Perfume. It's an amazing book. But there's this one extended section where he goes into isolation, and the description of what he's experiencing when he's in isolation is just some of the most captivating writing I've ever read. Honestly, it's amazing. So I would highly recommend that book, and it left me with this eerie feeling, this sense of dread. So that is absolutely one of the scariest books I've ever read. All right, what's next? What do we got? What's question 4 on Spooky Yuki's Scary Questionnaire?
What works of horror do you think underrated?
What works of horror do I think are underrated? Well, I'll tell you right now, there's a movie that I just watched recently that I think is, well, for me, it's probably the most underrated horror movie I've ever seen, and I cannot believe that this movie is not like more well regarded. It is. It's well regarded in a certain way because it has really good reviews on Letterboxd and a good score and stuff like that. But it's not that. It always doesn't matter. In this case, to me, this movie blew my socks off. I can't believe that this is not like considered a horror masterpiece. It's a movie called Anguish, starring Zelda Rubinstein. I think it's from '87. I don't want to say a word about what this movie is about. The only thing I will say is that if you can, I regret that I did not see this in a movie theater, in a packed theater. So what I would do is just keep an eye out for Anguish to see it maybe at like a film festival if they're going to show it, or if it like if it goes like a Beverly Cinema or something in LA. I'm sure that Quentin Tarantino has run this movie before. Honestly, Anguish, starring Zelda Rubinstein, the woman from Poltergeist. This movie blew my mind, and I'm so sad that I didn't get to experience it with a packed audience in an actual movie theater. And there's many reasons for that. It's almost like one time Liz Shack and I were watching Wait Until Dark with Audrey Hepburn, and we didn't turn the lights out. I had seen it before, but for some reason we didn't turn the lights out. And then the whole ending of Wait Until Dark, which actually is also sort of an underrated movie, because I don't really know many people who speak about that movie right now that I know who like bring that movie up. And that's another movie that it's like more of a thriller, but that movie, goddamn, that's like one of the best climaxes ever. And the guy Alan Arkish, right? No, not Alan Arkin. Alan Arkin, great villain. Oh my God, you wouldn't expect it because he's played comedic roles, but he is a bastard in Wait Until Dark. Definitely something that should be seen. And then, hey, I'm going to throw it out there. I've said it before. I'll say it again. Burial Ground. Burial Ground next to Anguish. To me, it's the underrated movie of all time. I know there's other works of horror besides movies, but these are just what's coming to my mind. Burial Ground. If you haven't seen it, it's like slowly becoming one of my favorite horror movies ever. It's just sleazy, weird, scary, funny. There's great stunts. There's great fire burns in it. Just the kills, the story, the eccentric acting, it's just so good. So yeah, I would highly recommend that. All right, what's question number 5?
What is your greatest fear?
What is my greatest fear? Oh boy. Well, I'll say what's my greatest. We actually spoke about phobias, right, recently, and we got into this again on the podcast buffet. But I'll say my greatest fear, that's an irrational fear, which maybe there's like 0.01% of this actually ever happening, is being buried alive. That is fucked up. To be buried alive, not be able to get out, and to just slowly suffocate to death in a small claustrophobic place. That fucks my mind to no end. I don't want to know about it. I don't want to experience it. That is a fear. Something that I really fear in like everyday life. Something that would be out of the blue, unexpected, like getting bit by a poisonous spider or something. That's a great fear of mine. To encounter some sort of nature that I'm not expecting, and then to not know how to heal it or help myself in a timely fashion. like a spider bite, snake bite, that sort of thing. That's an amazing fear, because you never know. You never know what the hell. I mean, have you ever seen Arachnophobia? The friggin' thing comes into fucking suburban neighborhoods, the poisonous spider, and goes nuts. No, thank you. That is a fear and a half. All right, next question on Spooky Yuki's Scary Questionnaire. Question 6, the final question. Let's go.
Do you believe in ghosts?
Do I believe in ghosts? Yes, I do. I do believe in ghosts. I believe in the spiritual realm. I believe in all the dimensions, 11 and beyond. I believe that ghosts may not necessarily be like spirits from the other side. I think sometimes it might be residual effects from the past, or maybe it's something from the future, or maybe it's something that's peeking down through the other dimensions and just comes through our plane of existence, and our puny human minds do not understand what it is. I mean, there are things that we cannot see around us for sure. I believe in that sort of stuff, and I believe in the supernatural. And one of the caveats here on the Spooky Yuki's Scary Questionnaire is with the last question, we're going to say, look, listen, feel free to share any ghost stories that you might have. I have a lot of ghost stories. I grew up in what a lot of people in my family, namely all of us, thought was a haunted house. And not in a bad way. We thought that there was just spiritual activity there, or spirit activity, or ghostly activity. But it wasn't necessarily like trying to scare us or hurt us. It was just noises and toilets flushing on their own, pictures flying off the wall, but in a good way, not not in, not in like a violent way. It was just like things happening, and who knows? Maybe the whatever entity it was didn't know it was dead, because there was a old woman who lived in that house before we started renting it, and she apparently died in the house. So maybe her spirit was just there and didn't realize it. And much like the others or something, was like, who are these? What's this family doing in my house? And was like throwing the pictures around, be like, get out, assholes. This is my house. But I think I told this story on the podcast before. One time my mother claims that she was late for work and the ghost woke her up when she had missed her alarms, or the alarm didn't go off or something. So that was very nice of the ghost to do that. She's like, Sheila, you're late for work. You got to get up. And she helped her. So it wasn't necessarily a bad thing. But yes, I absolutely believe in ghosts. I've experienced ghostly encounters. But I also believe that it may not be exactly like spirits of the dead coming back. It may be some plasma of the past or the future. Who knows what the hell it might be? We can't understand it. We can't even understand ourselves, let alone now we're going to look into the spirit realm. That's what we have to do before we look outside or heal the world or all that. We have to heal ourselves inward. We have to look inside. We have to meditate. We have to look at our sicknesses. And then if we heal ourselves inside, then the world will slowly get better, because everybody will start healing themselves. Then they can heal the world. Okay, so start within, I believe. Anyway, that went off the rails. But yeah, so that's Spooky Yuki's Scary Questionnaire coming up on Yuki and John's Interview Buffet, a new endeavor that we're doing with the Kings of Horror YouTube channel. And this will be brought to you by my new company. I started a company called Goblin and Law, and we're doing a whole bunch of stuff. I mean, we have a bunch of screenplays that we've been developing. We have short films that we've shot. We have these internet shows that we're doing. Goblin and Law is going to be a multimedia entertainment company, and I'm spearheading that. I'm the creative director of Goblin and Law, and that's going to be a lot of stuff coming up with that, and we're going to be sort of documenting our journey on Yuki and John's Patreon buffet with Goblin and Law. So if you want to stay tuned to what me and Yuki are doing and Goblin and Law and all the cool stuff that we're doing here at the buffet, check us out at Yuki and John's Patreon buffet. And if you're a buffet subscriber, we really appreciate you. You've changed our lives and helped us keep going and pay for our Adobe subscriptions and get Yuki a steak every once a year. You feed Yuki a hamburger. It's so beautiful. But these are all exciting things that we're doing, and there's so many more things coming up. I mean, I'm developing a feature film that I've been doing for a pretty long time. But now it's like time to strike, because with Goblin and Law, I really started working on it in 2025. And I had a 5-year plan, which I've reduced to 3. And the plan was the first year was a development year. The second year is production year, and the third year is marketing year. And the reason that I'm doing that is because, seriously, it's all of the pent-up, built-up things that I've wanted to work on for 20 years while I've been working for other people or aspiring. And, I lived in LA for 10 years. Then I went and I worked at Troma for 5 years. Then I worked at the Last Drive-In for 5 years. And now it's time to work for myself. And over that 20 years of aspiring to be something, I've just collected so much work that I want to get out there. Stories, characters, all these things, songs. I literally have like 1,000 songs. So this is like me trying to pull all of the things out of my brain so they're not in there anymore. Because it's like better out than in, is what I always say. Because when it's inside your head, it's sort of like too much information stored in there, and it's like a computer with the gigabytes. You got to clean it up sometimes. So the way that I'm trying to clean up my brain is to try to get and extract all of the stuff that I've wanted to do for so long. And it doesn't necessarily have to come out as like, multi-million-dollar movies and stuff like that. No, I could make movies for pretty cheap. I've learned how to do that over the years. And some of them shoot them on video. Some of them shoot on higher end cameras like the Red or the Arri Alexa, that kind of stuff. And that's going to be my next few years is just building this company, continuing on with Yuki, and trying to spread the word of myself and Yuki and the horror, just like our love of horror and art in general. So yeah, man, this is a pretty exciting time for me, and I'm super stoked. This whole year has been honestly the best year in years, my best creative year in years. And now that we're launching this Spooky Yuki's Scary Questionnaire on Yuki and John's Interview Buffet, I feel like we're going to touch the hearts of a lot of horror fans, even more than we have in the past, because this is something that you can all relate to, I think. Maybe, send us in your answers to this. You could film yourself doing it, or you could even send in just your written answers, and we'll feature you on the show. I'll read the written answers, or we could edit your videos in to the episodes. And if you want to submit your answers to Spooky Yuki's Scary Questionnaire, send it to yukiandjohn@gmail.com. yukiandjohn@gmail.com. And you can also find the video versions of what I'm talking about down below in the show notes. I'll put in Spooky Yuki's Scary Questionnaire down there that you can see what we've done. We shot Yuki in a spooky way, and we put up the questions. That's down below on an unlisted YouTube link. And then you could see the temp intro and outro for Yuki and John's Interview Buffet. We've got the graphics flying and a skull and Yuki, and you'll see what I'm talking about. That's down in the show notes. So yeah, check it out. And Yuki is the James Lipton of horror. And I'll be there to sort of MC the whole thing and keep it on the rails if I can. I mean, I know I can't even keep myself on the rails, but Yuki and John's Interview Buffet, Spooky Yuki's Scary Questionnaire. Send in your answers to yukiandjohn@gmail.com. All right, so that's our special Labor Day episode, and we thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time at the Buffet, Yuki and John's Interview Buffet, Podcast Buffet, Patreon Buffet, Media Buffet, Love Buffet, 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 Buffet.
Yuki and John.